Welcome back to the coin world. Old coin review and value, the ultimate destination for rare coin discoveries, numismatic treasures, and the hidden value in your pocket change. The 1939 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1939, the design had been in circulation for 30 years, symbolizing America's respect for one of its most cherished presidents. Designer and composition. The penny was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB are famously found on some early 1909 cents. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a distinct reddish-brown tone when new. The obverse front features the right-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln, with the word Liberty on the left and the date 1939 on the right. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that had been added since 1909. The reverse side showcases two stylized wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the top is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. Historical context of 1939. The year 1939 was pivotal globally. It marked the beginning of World War II with Germany's invasion of Poland. In the United States, although the war had not yet reached its shores, political and economic dynamics were rapidly shifting. The Great Depression was fading, and U.S. industries were starting to ramp up production, minting, and locations. The 1939 wheat pennies were struck in 3 U.S. mint. World War II and its impact on pennies. Just a few years later, during World War II, copper was deemed a critical war material. In 1943, the U.S. mint switched to zinc-coated steel for pennies, making the 1939 copper cent one of the last pre-war copper coins. Varieties and errors. Collectors seek out varieties such as double dies, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. These error coins can be worth significantly more than their standard counterparts. Condition and grading. The coin's value depends heavily on its condition. Grading ranges from good G4 to mint state MS65+. Coins with sharp details, luster, and no corrosion can fetch higher prices. Collectability and value. A 1939 wheat penny in average circulated condition is typically worth around 10 to 30 cents. Uncirculated examples may sell for $2 to $10. However, high-grade MS coins or those with rare errors can reach $50 or more. Proof pennies of 1939. Proof coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with exceptional quality for collectors. Only about 13,520 proof pennies were made in 1939, making them extremely desirable. Brenner's legacy. Victor David Brenner's design left a lasting legacy. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running design in U.S. coin history, and his wheat reverse became iconic among collectors. End of the wheat design era. The wheat penny design was retired in 1958. In 1959, it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Because of the value of certain rare variations, forgeries exist. Genuine 1939 wheat pennies should have consistent. 1939. The U.S. economy was still slowly recovering from the Great Depression. The New Deal programs of President Franklin D. Roosevelt had injected hope into the American workforce. Coin production, including the 1939 wheat penny, reflected a stabilizing economy. Increased minting at the Philadelphia Mint that year showed renewed circulation and economic activity. In 1939, U.S. mints used mechanical coin presses that struck coins with a single blow. Dies were prepared manually, and errors such as double dies or repunched mint marks were not uncommon. Due to the lack of modern automation, these minting errors have since become treasured finds for collectors. During the 1930s and 1940s, pennies were often used for trolleys, buses, and early vending machines. In 1939, penny could buy a 5-minute phone call, a stamp, or 2 pieces of gum. This gives insight into the purchasing power of the penny and its day-to-day significance. 1939 was a tense year politically. While the U.S. had not yet entered World War II, the looming threat overseas created caution in domestic affairs. Coin production had to remain efficient and economical, which is why the U.S. stuck to tried and true designs like the Lincoln -1 without drastic modifications. Coin collecting culture in the 1930s. The 1930s were a foundational time for modern coin collecting. Whitman Publishing began producing coin folders, allowing Americans to collect coins by year and mint mark. The 1939 wheat penny became a core piece of such collections. especially because it was accessible and still in widespread circulation. Abraham Lincoln remains the most honored U.S. president on coins. The Lincoln wheat cent, introduced in 1909, was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1939, Lincoln had been featured on the penny for 3 decades, making it the longest-running design at the time. The U.S. did not enter World War II until 1941. Military preparations began in the late 1930s. The 1939 penny marks one of the last normal, pre-war copper cents. Within a few years, material shortages would lead to drastic changes like the steel penny in 1943, preservation and storage in the 20th century. Many 1939 wheat pennies survived in circulation and home savings jars. However, relatively few were carefully preserved in high mint state grades, making fully read, uncirculated examples rarer and more valuable today. The copper content in a 1939 penny is worth more than 1 cent today, although melting cents is illegal. This illustrates how inflation has affected currency over time. What a cent could buy in 1939 is far more than its purchasing power now. 1939 pennies often show up in inherited coin collections, coffee cans, or family boxes passed down through generations. For many, finding one is a nostalgic reminder of the past, leading them to explore numismatics more deeply. The 1939 Denver penny is especially significant due to its low mintage of just over 15 million. Meanwhile, the 1939 San Francisco mint, while more common,